Is the race card all the Liberals have? I'm Brian Lilly with TheRebel.media. The federal Liberals under Justin Trudeau have been having questions thrown at them about their fundraising almost since they got into power, and now they're just resorting to responding with them by claims of racism. Let me back up a little bit. You have to remember that Trudeau and his Liberals were only sworn into office on the 4th of November 2015. By early December, there were already questions about their fundraising techniques. Emails to supporters saying, donate now and you can win FaceTime with the Minister of Finance or the House Leader or the Immigration Minister and ask them about policy. Oh, that was looked down upon by many, including the Ethics Commissioner. They shut that one down. But then the Justice Minister, Jody Wilson-Raybould, decides to go into the downtown Bay Street law offices of Tory's law firm of Toronto for a $500 a head fundraising cocktail reception, not even dinner for $500, $500 for cocktails and a chat with the minister. Well, this was an event pretty much marketed exclusively to lawyers. So the Justice Minister, who has a lot of sway over lawyers, who appoints lawyers to the bench to make them judges, who decides which law firms will get plum government contracts, is having a swanky soiree with some of the most influential lawyers on Bay Street. That is bad judgment. And yet, for the second time, the Liberals have resorted to playing the race card on this issue. The latest being this week, when Democratic Institutions Minister Maryam Monsef decided to stand up and say this is all because she's an Indigenous woman.
This motion is a vicious and unfounded attack on an Indigenous leader, a woman who has and continues to serve her nation honorably, and the motion is not helping Canadian democracy.
This is the second time, as I said, that the Liberals have done this. The first was when Wilson-Raybould herself answered a question in question period by saying that she was just talking about what it's like being the Justice Minister and an Aboriginal woman.
The primary discussion that occurred at that event was about Canada. It was about how far we've come as a country wherein we embrace diversity, ensure that all voices are heard, and recognize that in a country such as Canada, the Justice Minister can be an Aboriginal person and also be a woman. That's what this country is about.
Wait a minute. Before that answer came out, Wilson-Raybould had said she wasn't there as Justice Minister. She was just there as the MP, the Liberal MP for Vancouver-Granville. Well, which is it? Look, no one is questioning whether Jody Wilson-Raybould is qualified to be the Justice Minister because she's a woman. No one's questioning whether she's qualified to be the Justice Minister because she's an Aboriginal. In fact, nobody's questioning whether she is qualified to be the Justice Minister at all. This is about her judgment, or the party's judgment, in her going into a fundraiser. If this was her call, then that's bad judgment on her part. If this was the party's call, that was bad judgment on their part. And somebody should have shut this down. They should have looked at the optics and said, the minister in charge of lawyers and appointing them, in giving them contracts, should not be going to a fancy soiree like this. But instead, in response to questions that Liberals themselves would ask, were the cards turned? In fact, they asked these very questions of Bev Oda, a woman of Japanese-Canadian descent. Nobody raised the race card then. They asked the same questions of Shelley Glover, a Métis woman. Nobody raised the race card then. They asked these questions when the Conservatives made the same mistakes. They pushed until the Conservatives returned the money. But now they just want to play the race card and have everyone walk away. Most will, I won't. Ministers Wilson-Raybould and Minister Monsef, I'm sorry, but shame on you for raising this. Nobody else is raising the race card on this. Nobody else is raising the gender card on this. This is something the Liberals are doing themselves because you know that you've been caught. You know that the minister shouldn't have been there, and you don't know how else to answer this.
Thanks for watching. Click here to never miss a Rebel update. Want even more of The Rebel? Well, click here to become a premium member.